This video is going to go over the 3-1 quiz review. So the first two questions, the directions say to determine the vertex, the axis symmetry, the x and y intercepts, and the domain and range after you put it into standard form. So the first thing we're going to do is get that into complete the square or standard form. So this would be y equals, we're going to group together the 3x squared and the 5x. We're going to bump the 1 on the outside. Then you take the 3 out. It comes off of both terms here, so it'd be x squared plus 5/3 x. And then you're going to take that 5/3, divide it by 2 or multiply by 1/2 and square it. And I'd get 5/6 squared or 25/36. Going to add it here, and I would normally subtract it from out here, but I've got to multiply it by the 3 first. So I get y equals the 3 still in the front, square root the first term, square root that 25/36, take the sign from the middle, put it in parentheses, square it, and then this would be positive 1 minus 25/12 or 12/12 minus 25/12, which is negative 13/12. So there's your standard form. And then from there, your domain is the opposite of what follows the x. And then what's on the outside or the y coordinate stays the same. So it's going to be negative 5/6 and negative 13/12. To find the axis symmetry, we say x equals, and it's the x coordinate of my vertex, so negative 5/6. To find the x intercepts, we're going to make y 0. And we can either do that with this equation, or we can come back up here and see if that's factorable. 3 times 1 is 3. There's no factors of 3 that sums to 5, so we can do the quadratic with it. So 0 equals 3x squared plus 5x plus 1. A is 3, b is 5, c is 1. So negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. You get negative 5 plus and minus the square root of 25 minus 12 over 6. Negative 5 plus and minus the square root of 13 over 6. So that's going to be negative 5 minus root 13 over 6, 0, and then negative 5 plus square root 13 over 6, and 0. And then the y-intercept is the easy one. From your original, you make this 0 and this 0, so the y-intercept is 0, 1. Now when you go to graph it, my vertex is negative 5/6, and then negative, this would be negative 1 and 1/12. So back just a little bit and then just past negative 1. My x or y-intercept is 0, 1, which is here. My x-intercepts I'm going to have to approximate. So I would say negative 5 minus the square root of 13 is in between 9 and 16. So this is like a 3.5. Negative 3 minus 3.5 over 6, and then negative 5 plus 3.5 over 6. So I'd get negative 8.5 over 6, which is like negative 1, just past a little bit here. And then this is going to be negative 1.5 over 6, which is like negative 0.2-ish. The domain, because it's a parabola, all real numbers, negative infinity to positive infinity, and the range is the k coordinate of the vertex, so negative 13/12 to positive infinity. Okay, go to the next one. Again, completing the square. This time there's a negative on the front. So we're going to group this together. We're going to take out the negative. Take that 2, divide it by 2 and square it. 1 squared is 1. Add the 1 in here. Subtract the 1 from here. But you got to multiply this time by a negative 1 first, which means we're actually going to be adding 1. So negative square root the first, square root the last, sign from the middle, put it in parentheses and square it, plus 10. And there's your standard form. So from here, vertex is 1, 10. Axis symmetry is x equals 1. X intercepts. This time it's not so bad to do it from here if we want to. 0 equals negative x minus 1 squared plus 10. Subtract the 10. Multiply or divide by negative 1. Square root both sides, putting a plus and minus in front of the 10. And then add the 1. So it's 1 minus square root 10 and 1 plus square root 10. And then the y-intercepts, again, easier from vertex or general form. This would be 0, 0, and 9. I got to go all the way up to 10, so I'm going to go by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. My vertex is 1, 10, so I can also go by 1 here, and then 10. My y-intercept is at 9. My x-intercepts, we're going to approximate again. So square root 10 is just a little bit bigger than square root 9, so this is like a 3.1. So 1 minus 3.1 would be negative 2.1. And then 1 plus 3.1 would be 4.1. And then draw your parabola. Domain, again, negative infinity to positive infinity, and range negative infinity up to 10. Bracket on the 10. Okay, so now the directions change for the second set. It says to use the vertex formula, negative b over 2a, to find the vertex, and then the following. So this time we're not going to use complete the square. We're going to do a is negative 2, b is negative 7. So negative 7 over 2 times negative 2 is 7 over negative 4. So that's the x coordinate of my vertex. And then I've got to take and plug that back in to get the y. So negative 2, negative 7/4 squared minus 7 times negative 7/4 plus 5. Negative 2, 49/16 plus 49/4 plus 5. This all equals y. Y would equal 2 would go in here 8 times, so this is negative 49/8 multiplied by 2 to give it a like denominator, 98/8 multiplied by 8, 40/8. So this gives me 49/8 plus 40/8, or 89/8. That's the y coordinate of your vertex. Then find your axis symmetry. X equals negative 7/4. Your y-intercepts, or x-intercepts with that first. So 0 equals negative 2x squared minus 7x plus 5. Multiply to negative 2 times 5, and that's negative 10. There are no factors of negative 10 that would sum to negative 7. If it was a positive 10, we could do 2 and 5, or negative 2 and negative 5. But this is a negative 10, so again, this is prime. It's not factorable. We have to use a quadratic. A equals negative 2. B equals negative 7, and C equals 5. So negative 7 plus and minus the square root of negative 7 squared minus 4 times negative 2 times C, which is 5, over 2 times negative 2. 49. This would be 8 times 5. It's 40. Negative 4. 7 plus and minus the square root of 89 over negative 4. Those would be your x-intercepts, and we're going to approximate so that we can plot those. So root 89 is bigger than 81, but less than 100, so this is like a 9.5. 7 minus 9.5 over negative 4, and 7 plus 9.5 over negative 4. This would be negative 2.5 over negative 4, which is approximately like 1/2. This would be 16.5 over negative 4, which is going to be just a little bit bigger than negative 4. And then my y-intercept, plug 0 in, 0 there, and I get 0, 5. So graph what we've got. This is 11 and 1/8, so I'm going to go by 2s again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Negative 1 3/4, and 11 and 1/8. 0, 5 for the y-intercept, and we said this is approximately 1/2, and negative 4.1. 2, 3, 4. Domain, again, all real numbers, range, negative infinity to 89/8 with a bracket. Okay, another one like that. A is 4, B is negative 3, so negative 3 over 2 times 4 gives me 3/8. That's the x coordinate of your vertex. Plug it back in to get the y. Nine 16ths minus, multiply by 2 here, 18 16ths multiplied by 16 here. Oh, that's a 2. Sorry, not a 12. (32 16ths). So this is negative 9 plus 32 would be 23 16ths. Axis symmetry, x equals 3/8. 0 equals 4x squared minus 3x plus 2. Again, first and last would be 8. There's no factors of 8 that sum to negative 3, so quadratic again. So A is 4, B is negative 3, C is 2. Negative 3 would be 3, plus and minus the square root of negative 3 squared minus 4 times A times C, all over 2 times A. 9 minus, this is 16 times 2, 32. That means there's a negative underneath, which means there's no x-intercepts here. And then the y-intercept, just plug your zeros in. And I get 0, 2. So I only have a little bit of information to plot. I don't have as much as we normally do, which means I'm going to plot that stuff. So 3/8, and then this is like 1 and 7/16. 0, 2 is my y-intercept. Now I know this is going to point up because it's positive, and it makes sense that it wouldn't go through my x-axis then. But I need at least one more point. So I'm just going to plot 1. Plug it in, 4, 1 squared, minus 3 times 1 plus 2 is 4, minus 3 plus 2, 1 plus 2, which is 3. So 1, 3 is another coordinate point that I can use to then make the parabola. Domain, all real numbers again, and range, this time it's pointing up. So it's 23/16 to positive infinity. All right, then comes the easy one. This is your equation. So I'm giving you the vertex and a point. This is my h, this is my k, this is my x, this is my y, and I'm going to plug it into y equals ax minus h squared plus k. So 5 equals, a is the unknown, x is 3, minus a negative 2, that becomes plus 2 squared plus 3. 5 equals a, 5 squared plus 3, 5 equals a times 25 plus 3. Subtract the 3, and then divide by 25. And a is 2 25ths. And then the a, the h, and the k go back in. So y equals 2 over 25 times x minus a negative 2 would become plus 2 squared plus 3. And there's the last one. All right, I hope this helps you prepare for your quiz. Have a great rest of your day.